Electric fences are an important way to protect your apiaries, your chicken coops, and even your compost. But since you won't believe me, I've brought someone here to help. I'm here with Colonel Batchelder, Chief Warden of the state of Vermont. So, Colonel, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with electric fences?
Hi, so I protect chickens, chicks, and a compost bin, a great big compost bin. Over time, a bear found our compost bin, and I had what I thought was a good fence. It was keeping foxes and raccoons out, but a bear waded right through it one day and ate all our compost. So this year, we were away, and the bear waded through our fence again, tore the wall off of my chicken coop. I lost a pile of chickens. I lost chicks and chickens and grain, and so I upped the jewels on my fence, and so I have a very hot fence now. And I also put that actually put honey and peanut butter on my top strand. And it's been 3 weeks now and no bear. What I learned is that I was not greasing the top rail like you were supposed to, or the top strand. And so the Bear Hounds Association does a lot of outreach here, and they tell people that your fence is useless no matter how hot it is, unless you are putting some sort of bacon grease or peanut butter on the top strand to get the bear to lick it or to put its nose on it, to let it know that that fence is the enemy and it will never bother you again. So I didn't actually see the bear get zapped in the night, but I'm sure it did.
So you would definitely recommend to all Vermonters that if they have anything like beehives or chicken coops or compost, that they protect it with electric fences?
100%. You got to, or you're gonna run into trouble someday.
All right, you heard it here, folks. So thank you, Colonel. And we're going to move on to Forrest Hammond, who just recently installed his first electric fence.
My name's Forrest Hammond. I'm the Black Bear Project Leader for the state of Vermont, and we're here today to talk about electric fencing and bears. So what I did here was I did a little bit of research. I had a limited amount of money I wanted to spend, but I did have one beehive that I wanted to protect. So I checked out an electric fence company, offered kits and advice for setting up electric fencing around beehives. And what we found was a simple setup here. This is netting that's electrified, and it's very simple. It's very easy to turn on once you've got set up. You simply connect the positive charge to the fence and it's working. If you want to do some work in it, you just disconnect that and you can touch the fence. You can disconnect it very easily and go in and work. There are some key aspects to putting electric fencing up to try to deter bears. Probably one of the best things is the location of where you set up your beehive and where you're going to have your facility to begin with. Bears don't like to cross openings, so the worst thing you could do is to set your beehive and electric fence right next to the forest. I have a few trees here, but right in back of it there's another field and there's the highway. It's actually across the lawn and in back of the barn where there's a forest, and I've had game cameras up that I know that bears occur over there. So I purposely put it across here, thinking that a lot of bears wouldn't even want to cross the yard. I have not had bear issues in the past here, but the last time I kept bees was 10 years ago, and we didn't have many bears in the town of Heartland where I live. But now I know they occur. We get lots of reports from people of seeing bears around here. So I'm ready. I've got an electric fence set up for bears. Some of the key aspects of this is an electric fence doesn't do any good unless you actually bait it, so that the bear that comes in, instead of just trying to push through the wire, actually presses its nose or tongue to the wire itself. And by putting just a can of tuna fish on the wire itself, a bear would approach that first and try to lick it or touch its nose, and that should be enough to repel the bear. There needs to be some kind of power for your fence. One that's a little bit more expensive, but it's an investment, is to get a solar charger. You can get a battery system that costs less, but you have to replace the battery pretty much every season. So in the long run, this is probably the cheapest way to go if you're going to have it for a number of years. But it's pretty simple to set this up. The netting itself just comes in a roll. You just roll it up. You press the fence ends just with your foot, can be pressed in. You need to put a stand for your solar, and that's just putting in a pole. You need a grounding rod, which is down here, and that's actually pounded into the ground probably about 3.5 feet. And of course the negative charge goes to that. The positive charge is connected to your fence at clips that are provided, and you're good to go, and it's running, and I'm not going to touch it now because I'd get a shock. There is a power charger or a tester to make sure that your electricity is going through the wire okay. But to go ahead and work on the bees or anything, I simply clip it. There's no charge. I untie the string that holds the fence together in the clip, and I can do whatever I want. Then inside of the little enclosure inside there. One thing I've chosen to do, since I am a composter as well, is I had previously purchased a tumbler composter, which I thought would be fairly bear resistant. And since I have an electric fencing to make sure I do not have any problems with bears, that's something I can put inside here as well to make sure bears couldn't get to it. If I was having trouble with garbage at this site as well, it'd be very easy. There's lots of space. You could bring in your garbage can or a couple cans and keep them within the electric fence as well. For this kit, I paid approximately $300. But I look at it as something I've got now for the rest of my life, and I can use if I keep bees that long. Certainly if I've got a problem with bears coming into garbage or compost, I've taken care of the problem.
Well, bears won't be bothering him anytime soon. Thanks for staying tuned, and be bear smart.